This is editing Ryan back again. Um, Basically, Griffin and I had an opening diatribe that may have gone a little bit too long, so we decided to break it up from the actual topic of the episode and give it its own little mini episode, a little episode 11.5, I guess. Um, it's an incredibly niche topic that we are both passionate about, which is trading card games, specifically Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic the Gathering. Um, so, um, if I remember correctly, it's probably going to be only relevant to people who really are also um, knowledgeable on the subject. Uh, it's really when you boil it down, it's the rambling of two nerds that are just really deeply ingrained into trading card games. But um, hopefully someone watches it and likes it. But yeah, there'll still be a regular episode. Um, and maybe you will enjoy the rambling of two mad nerds. And anyways, back to the episode.
The Labyrinth Butler.
Oh, how? What do you mean?
So you were saying that you could turn one devastation virus,
Eradicator epidemic virus.
eradicator epidemic, or deck devastation, or whichever one discards.
Eradicator epidemic
Okay,
virus.
eradicator epidemic virus.
That one you call spells or traps.
Right.
And then your opponent reveals their hand.
Right.
And then every subsequent card they draw during their draw phase.
For 3 turns.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way you do that consistently is, first of all, you're gonna have to play like 3 of that lady, yeah. Or maybe there's something in deck that like lets you actually no Wonder Labyrinth, right? Welcome, but that's not
slow.
It's slow, yeah. Right.
You want it to play 3 just so you can open it.
So you can open it, but then what you do is you play 3 Trap Trick, and then you play 2 D Barrier and 2 Epidemic.
Yeah,
and then that way, going first, you can set the either if you top deck either of them, you can activate it that turn, or you can wait till their turn and activate it in the case of D Barrier. But you can activate it that turn, or if you got the Trap Trick, you can still do it because Trap Trick lets you activate the.
You can also create a set imperm column.
Yeah, you could.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it.
It's true. There's a lot of things you can do with it. I think it's good.
If you open Eradicator Epidemic Virus, just set it then. Anyways.
Well, the other thing too is you can keep. What I was trying to figure out though is what do you do with it after the first turn?
Nothing. It's just a body.
It's a body.
I think there's some decks I saw play the other like candle labyrinth shit because of the level, so that way they can
make something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can probably make Chaos Angel with it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably actually.
Yeah.
If anything, like something low committal, like Xyz and then make Zeus.
Yeah, well, I mean, we love going into Zeus. It's true. And you could get 2 of them, right? Because you can special summon them anytime somebody interacts with one of your traps.
Yeah.
They special summon themselves from the grave.
So you're kind of guaranteeing yourself bodies. Like I've seen some that.
And it's got a 25 booty, so they gotta like run it over.
Yeah. Like Dugaris is an option. You want to go for like an OTK play.
Which one's Dugaris?
Detach 2. You can either draw 2. I think one of your cards can attack twice, or something else, or you can normal summon twice.
Okay.
But for the you take a minus on the subsequent turn. But the whole point is to just extend a little bit more.
Yeah,
so you
go.
Just go.
Yeah.
Or like if you're trying to like hold out, Baguska has, Baguska.
Well, but it's a 6, I think. She's a 6. I don't think you can make Baguska.
The butler?
Yeah, I could be wrong. I think
the butler's a 4.
She's a 4? I thought
she was a 4.
I don't think so.
Is it not? Oh. Well then.
I didn't bring her, but I think she's a 6. I think she's. I could be wrong. If she's a 4, you can definitely make Baguska.
Yeah. I mean, even if she's a 6, if you run Bestials, you can make rank 6s.
Would Labyrinth run Bestials?
I mean, there are worse tech cards, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a trap deck.
Yeah.
So like, you want like more cards in your hand to be traps.
Yeah.
Instead of just like random, like
freaking
DD Crows. I mean,
DD Crow is really good in this format, though.
Well, I mean, bestials are good.
Well, DD Crow is really good in this format. Droll is really good in this format.
That's what I'm afraid is going to happen to you if you try and do that turn one thing. You're just going to get trolled because people really like it right now.
I mean, yeah, but like if you get drolled, grab the epidemic virus then. Or I don't think you can droll the labyrinth the butler because it doesn't search. It sets directly to the.
Yeah, but that's only if you have it in hand already. If you try to use it, or does Trap Trick set it?
Trap Trick sets directly to the field.
So they can't draw.
Yeah, they can't draw Trap Trick. Okay. There's a lot of ways for you.
But they could draw. They could draw if you try to thrust for it.
No. You can choose to set it directly to your field.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's sick.
I think. Depends on like the declared interaction.
Yeah. No, I think you're probably right about that actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, I would probably play like 3 thrust and 3 trap trick. And that way you have a pretty good chance of like your long game might not be as good as like other labyrinths, and so if you're playing a mirror and someone's not getting as techy as you, they're gonna grind you out like pretty hard.
I mean, you can like run the skill drain and Lord of Heavenly Prison package because like he'll still resolve with skill drain on the field, so you still get to set something directly from the deck.
And he's still huge.
3K.
I'm not sure I like skill drain in Labyrinth as much as I like it in Eldritch.
The whole point is just to deal with the gimmick puppets and Brandon and Chimera.
Okay.
That's literally like kind of the main reason of running it. I mean, there's also Dragoon because Dragoon is still a thing, especially in branded strategies.
Yeah, now he's getting really popular in branded.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they're making it, but they're
just making it off of they're running one Dark Magician and then making it off of whatever dragons in the deck. They're usually Lubellion.
Okay.
Because it's you just need Dark Magician and a dragon.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't need a Red Eyes card?
Nope. People were using Red Eyes Fusion because it listed Red Eyes.
I thought they were using one of the fusion swap cards.
No, they're using just Lubellion and Albez.
Really?
Yeah, because Albez is a dragon, Lubellion is a dragon, and then Dark Magician. That's all you kind of need.
And it's like a and they play like polymerization spells. They play poly and they play
Depends.
Not super poly, but like one of the other polys.
Super poly is definitely played more often. If you're playing Chimera and what is it? The Viper package with like what is it? Edgem Chain and
Edgem Chain and
Viper Patchwork with the polymerization because it's searchable. Yeah, it's really good. Other builds, I think you'll maybe see one poly because then there's also some builds that are running Keeper Dragon Magic. But Keeper Dragon Magic also allows you to search any fusion normal spell. So you can actually search instant fusion or ready fusion off of Keeper Dragon Magic.
I kept seeing the one that has the red artwork, which I think is like not super, but like mega or something like that. It's like
no, that's Chimera Fusion.
Really?
That's a quick play spell, I think.
Okay.
That one it came out with the new Chimera support for the Illusionary Beast.
Right.
Because that one also synergizes pretty well with Dragoon because you just run one DM and then Chimera Fusion is a quick play, so you can actually do multiple fusions in one single chain.
Okay.
So that way, when shit hits the field, you can have Guardian Chimera essentially chain blocked out, or chain blocked, so that way your opponent can't like Ash, so you can't get the draw or whatever. It's very more situational, but like. No, they're still making Dragoon the same way. They just realized, maybe we should have like a unaffected or untargetable and almost.
No, I mean both the Chimera cards are good. People are even playing the other one, the newer one in Labyrinth, because his Graveyard Effect lets you resummon a fiend.
Yeah, plus all the illusionary beasts have shit that does stuff in Grave, so it dodges a lot of the annoying stuff on the field that's like been blanking stuff or like the things that stop you from activating shit in hand. Because not a lot of Bell is not a popular card in the format at the moment. Everyone's saying to start playing Bell again, but Bell is not seeing as much play as it like had in previous formats. Because Bell wasn't even being played all that much in like tier or anything, like during tier format.
I kept hearing people say it and then I didn't see it.
Because like the other card that people were teching was Dimension Shifter.
Yes.
Because they wanted to play more high impact cards for that format because tier was just such a high impact, like the fairies in there. The Ishizu cards are
No, the Shizu cards are terrifying.
just super super high impact cards. So they're like, okay, how do I keep up with the high impact nature of tier limits? Okay, I need to play high impact hand traps, and therefore I need to play D shifter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't open D shifter,
he's useless.
Exactly. I mean, unless you're playing like there's some decks that can kind of abuse it and get D shifter off multiple times, like Flu. If you don't open like the Harpy's Feather Storm or whatever, so you don't have like shit in grave sitting there, or Exo Sister, because you
shovel things back.
No, Exo Sister already has will play D Fissure.
Oh, so there are this
and Macro Cosmos.
Yeah.
Exo Sister doesn't care.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool then.
Yeah,
that seems like an advantage of those decks.
Unfortunately, like Exo Sister just got power crept by like the other decks in the format, and like they just didn't have the long game to compete with Tier, because Tier can just bounce back like really really crazy.
Well, Tier has like I think the most amount of possible interactions of like any.
Well, also it abuses like the most broken summoning mechanic in the game at the moment, which is fusion. It's just, you know, I think if you're gonna list the mechanics in like terms of like most brokenness,
well, since Dragoon basically.
Yeah, fusion at number one, because like there's just so many untargetable shits. The new Albion is untargetable.
And
Dragoon is untargetable.
From deck.
Yeah,
making things from deck is fucking busted.
Yeah, it's essentially it's a.
It was the first,
most fusion spells now are just like minor.
Right?
Yes, Neos Fusion.
Neos Fusion did that, and then all of a sudden they started making a bunch more, and every single one of them was more and more busted and terrifying.
Yeah, because you're just getting it's a +3 when you really think about it, because you're getting a body on the board, and then you're sending 2 cards from deck into your graveyard, which is just a resource. So it's really
awesome. +2 because you played a card, but
yeah, sure, but.
Yes, no, it's really good. No, it's really, really good. And it's completely slipped out of control now, because so when you give it to Neos, no one cares because Neos is so bad that it doesn't.
That's why I think what you're seeing now,
the impact is just non-existent.
With the rest of the archetypes in the game, especially with like Link and Exceed and Synchro, is you're seeing a lot of them getting a lot of broken cards and broken support. Like we wouldn't have seen cards like Despater or like Chaos Angel or XL Synchro Stardust Dragon or Psychic and Punisher if the game hadn't made super broken fusion monsters.
I completely agree with you, and what's crazy is most of the things you just mentioned are not even considered busted or broken. Or
because like literally because the power level that exists in the game currently, because of fusion monsters and the fusion mechanic, the rest of these boss monster cards that in previous formats would have been
no Psychic and Punisher
would have been format defining.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would have been a tier 0 format defining card.
But like Psychic and Punisher is like barely registers for like how actually
exactly, because like who the fuck cares when you have something that like Dragoon or like fucking the new
even Dragoon doesn't look as crazy as it used to.
Or like Sanctifier, in my opinion, is like one of the best ones, because that one you can do Gimmick Puppet Lock, or you can do Raw's Disciple Lock, or you can do like whatever fucking lock you want. Really, I think you can do Barrier Statue Lock if you really wanted to, because it's just target 2 graveyard banished.
Is Wind Barrier Statue legal right now? It's not, right? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
Flu,
yeah, because of Flu. But fuck Flu. I hate that deck so much. I would rather play against so many other matchups I would rather go up against than Flu. You know, because I went to locals recently, and
did you played locals league recently?
Yeah.
How'd it go? What did you play?
I was playing my Punk Gold Pride.
Oh, Gold Pride. Cool.
Yeah.
Very combo-y.
Yeah, and they hit me with a Harpy's Feather Storm, and I just made Zeus pass. But like what eventually happened was like I think I hit with another Harpy's Feather Storm or whatever, but we forgot that had happened that turn, and
he went to use another one or something. And
I started using effects. He said okay, and then we entered on
broken game state.
Yeah, broken game state. So I just took the loss on that. I was like, fucking Flu.
Yeah. I kind of hate stuff like that, especially when like I had to like suck it up the other day. It was in a draft. I was playing Magic, and
is it for the Doctor Who stuff?
No, Doctor Who doesn't have a draft format, actually. That's only Commander cards.
Really? Oh, right. Because I think I read somewhere that every single card in the set you can just get from the Commander decks.
Yes.
Like if you get all 4 Commander decks, that's every single card in the set.
Yes. And so there's no draft format for it. So
Okay.
we've still been playing Eldraine.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember what it was, but I did something. Oh, I made a creature that had double black in its cost, and I didn't have 2 swamps. I had like the converted mana cost equivalent available, but I didn't actually have 2 swamps on the field. And so we went up a turn, and he didn't catch it, and I didn't catch it, and then eventually he caught it, and I just gave him the game.
Yeah.
But like on a weird way, you know what I mean? Like I feel bad because like giving him the game when we both
Like
missed
fucked
it.
up the game state yourselves.
Yeah, we fucked it up together.
I was like that's very similar to what essentially happened to me.
And like I felt like the honorable thing was to give him the game, but it didn't feel 100% right because he also completely missed it and was like letting me do it.
Which like, then you can get into the other situation, which is I don't remember if you recall what happened to me at like freaking, was it YCS or regional? I can't remember. But this was like a year ago or a year and a half ago at this point. And one, I already started with a warning because I wrote my deck list in red ink, which is whatever. Like the pens were there, so
why'd they give you red ink pens?
I don't fucking know. So I start the event with like a warning. So if you get 3 warnings, you're disqualified. You're DQ'd. And so round 3 happens.
Starting the event with a warning because of red ink from a pen they gave you at the event.
Bro. And what's it called? So I was playing up against a guy, and he was playing kitchen sink. I was also playing kitchen sink. So
what's kitchen sink?
I
must have missed that meta.
Actually, no, I wasn't playing kitchen sink. I was playing Eldritch, Cyber's Eldritch, something, DPE Turbo, whatever.
Oh, you're playing. Okay, what's the Cybers card? So DPE Eldritch was definitely
Dotscaper.
Okay.
Plus the one that spawns tokens. I can't remember. It's like a red guy, and then you make another little satellite dish looking one, and then that thing, when you get the draw because you co-linked or whatever, and this is the red one's effect, and then you link those 2 off together. But the one that spawns under the red one spawns 2 tokens.
Okay, what do you do with it? What do you do with the cyber stuff? Because Eldritch,
you just climb to Anaconda.
Anaconda. Okay, and then you make Anaconda
to make DPE. Yes.
Okay. So this couldn't have been a year ago then, because Anaconda's been banned for a long time.
So is it 2 years ago? I mean, we were still working. We were still working at Blazing.
Yeah.
So
this seems like 2 years ago.
Okay, so this is over 2 years ago.
Okay, because Anaconda has been banned for like a hot minute now.
Yeah.
But Eldritch.
Oh, I was playing Crystron Hockey Fibrax was still in the format.
Yes.
Link Cross had just been banned.
Yeah.
So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. And I was going up, and I was playing Eldritch, and then I think he was playing like DP PK or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Because then like he had set he created Dagda, so he could set Scythe.
Yes.
But then he didn't activate Scythe. But because of Dagda's effect, Scythe was supposed to go to the graveyard at the end of that turn. But we both didn't catch that. And when he called Judge on himself for not sending the artifact Scythe to the grave. And then the judge gave us both a warning. So now I have 2 warnings in the event at the start. At like
so you got a warning when he missed the trigger on one of his cards.
Yes.
Bro, they were out for you. They were out for you, man.
Which, it's whatever.
It is interesting, though. I mean, like, there's a completely different philosophy around judging in each of the 3 games, right?
Yeah.
Like Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh have completely separate, like, judging philosophies. And I do think that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh
just feels like it's out there to just kind of punish you. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, what's crazy? If I don't know if this is true in Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, but I know that in Pokemon, if you don't know what a card does, even if it's not on the field, you can call a judge and they have to tell you what it does.
That is not the case in Yu-Gi-Oh. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you as the player are responsible to having proper translations and proper game knowledge before entering the table. And if you don't, you're penalized.
Well, so you can, but here's the thing: different language cards aren't even legal in Pokemon.
Really?
You can only play with the language of the cards in the region you're playing. So, for instance, if you're playing in a place where more than one language is legal to play with, then you can play with those languages specifically. So each event,
so
the
like
cards that are legal in that event are locked into a language.
so let's just say like
So
the
you-
event is in like
So the language can never be an issue.
let's say the event is in somewhere like in East Asia, right?
Yes.
Or like English and the native East Asian language, they both
Like Singaporean or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could. Then
so
you
there
could
was a
probably playing. Yeah.
like let's just say there's a bracket or pool for the English cards, and then there's another separate tournament running at the same
No.
time? Or is it's one singular pool?
Yes, but
Ooh.
that's
But
based
that's
on
like
the
the
region.
exception.
But I'm not saying the exception. That's just how it is in that region. So in the United States, the only
I guess
cards
what
that
I'm
are
saying is
legal
the
here
exception
are
would
English.
be because that's a region where like multiple dialects.
It's just I think that's actually going to be pretty common.
Okay.
So like in
So then I guess U.S. Canada are the exception.
yes, exactly.
Because they're
But
English.
here they like you're never gonna have like a.
I'm surprised Canada doesn't allow French cards.
They might though. I don't know.
I think
I've never
that's
played
true.
in France. I mean, I've never played.
I've never
in
played
Canada.
in Canada either.
I've never played in Canada, but I do know that like in the U.S. you cannot play with cards that are not in English.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What's the most you've done for like traveling? I guess for like TCG and stuff like that.
I've gone to regionals and stuff like that.
I mean, like farthest you've gone,
Farthest I've gone,
like
not that far.
distance wise.
Yeah, not that far distance.
Okay.
Yeah, like honestly, I don't like chasing points. I think it takes all the fun out of the game,
out of the competition.
So I don't go places if they're far. Like specifically, I try to go places that are close because that keeps it within the realm of fun for me. So that meant like when I lived in Michigan, I was like going to like Indiana and stuff like that. And then mostly in California, I've played in like Southern California.
You're just gonna
events.
stick to SoCal.
Yeah, so I play like in San Diego or I play in LA or something like that. Pasadena, obviously, right? But yeah. So anyways, like if though, for instance, you think that someone's playing like. I think that you're playing. I haven't seen it yet, but I see a Palkia V, and I think you're playing Palkia V Star. I can call the judge and ask him what Palkia V Star does.
And do they have like an iPad or something like that?
I have no idea how they do it, but yes, they like pull it up on their phone or whatever, and they have to tell you what the card does.
That's so funny because like in the last, because Yu-Gi-Oh has been, or Konami has been slowly, they're the last to really get in on it of all the TCGs, joining in on the esports or like the MLG kind of aspects of it all. And I don't know if you remember, but like a couple regionals and I think a world championship, there was a stream match or a match that was live streamed, and one of the judges had pulled out Dueling Book for a ruling.
I've seen that, so that gets pointed out on Zodiac Duelists or like any of the like the Facebook pages or like the any of the Discords.
Yeah.
Anytime that Dueling Book gets pulled up on stream, people like screen cap it, you know what I mean, and like tattoo it to their body.
Yes, yeah.
And here's the thing, I love Dueling Book. I think Dueling Book is like an incredible resource.
It's because Konami has openly denounced like Dueling Book.
Of course.
Programs like of that like same caliber and stuff like that.
But then they like openly rely
they have judges that openly rely on it, but they're not supposed to. That's why like when it's shown.
I bet that guy got in trouble.
I think he did. I don't know the full story, but what I do know is like the video. It was like on the VOD was like posted onto YouTube for like a couple hours and then immediately removed.
Yes, but that's what's crazy. So people will have it. They'll pause it. They'll screen cap it, and they'll be like, "Guys, we got him.
We got him." Like honestly, the Yu-Gi-Oh live streams are some of the. They're just chaotic. So rich, full of content.
Yeah, it's really
because
chaotic.
There's no organization that goes on in any of this stuff. The One Piece card game is far younger, but just because Bandai is far more organized as event organizers.
And to be fair, it's like on the backs of a bunch of other Bandai card games.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not their first rodeo.
But Yu-Gi-Oh has existed for over 20 years. We're in the 25th anniversary of the TCG, and they're still not. They still haven't gotten their shit together in terms of like organization.
I thought it's 25 years of the manga. Is it 25 years of the card game?
Is it 25 years?
I think it's 25 years of the manga. I think it's 25 years of the manga. I think the manga came out in like 96 or something like that.
Yeah, I think 1996.
Yeah, and that would
or maybe even 1996.
Or maybe like some,
I would not put it further or earlier than 1995.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And that would make it like 28 years, right?
Yeah.
So maybe then and maybe it's 25 years of the card game then.
I think it is the card game.
Okay.
Because I thought the
card
manga,
game then came out in like 1998 or 99. Then 98.
I think the anime also had an anniversary.
98. It's probably 98, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. 98 card game comes out. Yeah, manga 96, card game 98.
The anime is 97.
It's 2023 right now.
Yeah, so 25 years.
That's 25.
We
years.
can math, everyone.
Yeah.
But you know, are you like, would you stick to Pokemon more and competitive, or would you like dip into the other card games?
I don't know. It depends. The problem with it is I think that like Magic actually has like the most pure way of being enjoyed, which is drafting, and there really isn't like a highly competitive way to enjoy that anymore. Now they've made it kind of like Wizards has kind of they've made it less competitive of an event.
It's more of a casual kind of.
Yes, and like the way it works now, it's just like they have big sealed events, and they have draft events at that can be pretty competitive at like big events. We'll have big competitive draft events. Like, in fact, actually the most jealous I've ever heard of anyone recently, or I've ever been of anyone recently, was I heard that at a big Magic convention, they did a Urza's Block draft. And it was $400 a person.
What the?
It was $400 a person, and you got a Legacy, Saga, and Destiny pack.
It's like fucking $200, $250 worth of packs, essentially.
Yeah, but you got to...
What was the prize pool?
I have no idea. But you got to draft a format from 1997.
Yeah, essentially it's a vintage draft.
Yeah. But it was also like drafting was getting really good at that time too. So it's a really good draft format. It's a really, really good, really rare, really hard. Like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so someone at Next Gen was like telling me that, and I was like. My mouth was like literally watering. I was like just goosebumps all over my body. Like I would find $400 to draft an Urza's Block draft. But that's what I'm saying. So like Magic has like this like perfect, like I think that like drafting is like the jazz of card games. You know, you build a deck on the spot, you play it, you learn how to play it on the spot, you compete on the spot. There's no practicing. There's just doing.
Also, it's like, you know, you pull good or you not pull good.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of skill and talent in like being able to read the pool and like what you think is going to be available and like what do you think people are going to pass you.
Sometimes keeping the chase card isn't what's going to make you win the tournament.
Yeah. And so I think that drafting is like the most perfect way to enjoy a game, but it's not really it's not something that I feel like I can do very competitively. I'm going to continue to engage in it because I think it's really fun. Pokemon, I know the most amount of people who play it.
Yeah. Like I feel like you especially are just somehow really integrated into a lot of these high level playing circles. Just so happen, just by happenstance.
Maybe, but like it's just like I think it's just time. You know what I mean? Like if you especially so I've been playing Pokemon again, like kind of like on or off competitively since like 2015, and I had started to play the game in 1998. And so like I learned how to play Magic from Portal, which was like a product made to teach kids how to play Magic. I learned how to play Pokemon from the starter decks, which was like the product that they made to teach kids how to play that. Right. And so during like this first like boom like of card game kind of like gold rush of card game stuff, I kind of was brought in by those specific products for kids in the 90s to learn how to do that. And I didn't stick with it. You know, a lot of people have who like that's why my first experiences with Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like 30 years old because I didn't stick with it. Like I played it through late elementary school and like middle school, and I didn't get back into, you know, I got back into card games in like 2014, 2015, something like that. Basically when I got sober, I was like looking for like
hobbies. Yeah,
like things to and like all of a sudden like I wake up like early enough on a Saturday or a Sunday that I can, you know what I mean,
do stuff.
Go do that. Yeah. So and so like I got into arcade games, I got into video games again, like I started playing card games. And honestly, like the vast majority of people who play Pokemon competitively only last about a year. At any given time, the vast majority of people playing Pokemon
they just get burnt.
I'm sure that's true, but what that means then is if you've been playing on or off as long as I have, all of a sudden, yeah, you've met a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, like it wasn't actually that long of a period of time from like 2015 until now is about like 7 or 8 years, but like not like such a crazy amount of time. In a lot of spaces that wouldn't be that much time, but in Pokemon I'm like a 1,000-year-old dragon. I'm fucking Smog.
I feel like that's the complete opposite with like Yu-Gi-Oh and the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, because I've been in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene forever, essentially since like 2006. I've been a part of the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, right? And I've met like a fair amount of Yu-Gi tubers, but I don't think they know. Like, I wouldn't say I know them, or they would definitely not say they know me or anything like that. Like, and then the people I run with are not like, I don't know. It's just, it feels very pocketed, and especially when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, where it's like
Yu-Gi-Oh scene does seem pocketed, which I think is really interesting because I've also been told that, like, for instance, Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments will often end right when people get to top 8 because they just all decide to split.
Yeah.
There's this idea that the Yu-Gi-Oh community is actually very cooperative.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because high-level players in Pokemon are not
like that at all. They're kind of winner takes all. Where in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's very much that. That's why I think they introduced the team events at regionals and YCS now.
And 3v3 has gotten really popular.
It's gotten really popular and really interesting because now all of a sudden it's very much like what was presented to us in the anime, where Yu-Gi-Oh was a team event a lot of the times.
Sure.
Which was part of what made
the show is specifically a lot about friendship. That's for sure.
And you know, that's what card games are for. You know, the heart of
they've made me a lot of friends. That's true. I mean, Pokemon is definitely like how I built like my initial friend group in Los Angeles. For sure.
Definitely. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about the Magic scene, to be honest. I come from it from a very outsider looking in. I've only really recently gotten interested in like playing Magic because of like the Lord of the Rings and the Doctor Who collab.
Those are gonna keep getting crazier and crazier, by the way.
Because like there's Final Fantasy.
I'm so excited for
Fallout,
Final Fantasy.
And Assassin's Creed. I think that have been confirmed to be coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like The Witcher or.
Dude, they're gonna keep going and going until they drive off of the face of the sun. You know,
eventually, like all of the Magic player base will be replaced with like people like me who came in because of the collaborations.
The crazy thing about it is that I've already been meeting people who are really, really good players, and they've only been playing for a year, and they got in because of whatever weird thing. Like some of them got like somebody's gotten in. I don't know who that is. Somebody got in just because of Warhammer. You know,
true.
There's like a Warhammer collab, and they like did it.
I mean, shit. Like that's how
there's a Street Fighter one, right? There's a secret layer for Street Fighter.
There's also Godzilla, Transformers.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous. What's really difficult though now is it's almost impossible to imagine Magic. Magic, it's crazy. But Wizards of the Coast is almost basically realizing that the game they've made is incredible, but the actual intellectual property within it has really low value.
I mean, there's not
like Urza as a character has almost no value.
Who knows the lore? Like
I do, and unfortunately, almost all Magic fans do, and it's not worth knowing.
I don't think it's worth learning.
But people do. I mean, dude, like when I was a kid, I would go over to the Talbot's house, and like Miles would be sitting on the couch, and you know, like watching like Cribs or something, and he's like reading like one of the novels, like the was you know.
The Magic the Gathering lore could not be that interesting.
But there were like real, like I remember, like they were specifically like books like about Urza, and like Urza was like this old decrepit old man. He's like dying, and he has this really hot young wife. Okay. And it was just like I learned like the lore, and like it's really sad too because the lore of Magic is like really it's really it's very imitation driven. So like if something gets popular in popular culture, Magic tries to integrate that theme into the lore of Magic. So there's this group of people called Gatewatch. Okay. And like they are very much like a response to like the Avengers like becoming like popular like in like Hollywood cinema. It's like a group of like super friends who like come together to like do wizard stuff together. And it's but like Magic's like lore is like that's kind of Like there is good little pockets of the lore. I would actually say that like the Mishra Urza stuff is kind of cool, and like a lot of the stuff that's really dark from the 90s, the Satanic Panic kind of era stuff is actually kind of cool. But the vast majority of the intellectual property they've produced has very, very, very low value. But they've made this incredible game, and the game and the name of the game are valuable. So what they do is they take the game and then they borrow other people's intellectual property, and it's fucking Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's the Fortnite of card games.
It kind of is becoming like that.
I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh! They never had to tell you the lore. They never made any books about.
But there's
Yu-Gi-Oh!
so
lore.
much lore there, and I don't ever understand it.
Because all of it is the card art. All the lore is like card art and like card text. There's nothing explicitly written out on like any encyclopedia or anything like that.
I did have to explain to someone the other day. Someone in Magic was really confused about the lore of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I had to explain to them that the shows and the lore within the card art are not
completely
the same.
separate.
They're separate, yeah.
In the show,
Like the show is
Yu-Gi-Oh!
about people who play
the card
Yu-Gi-Oh!
game.
Yes. And then the lore within the card art is
about the cards.
Is a whole separate thing. Yeah.
It's about literally what is depicted in the card art.
Right. Like Eldritch is like it exists.
Eldritch is a character.
Right.
In the world of dual monsters.
Right.
Or like the dual monsters.
But Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not live in Yu-Gi-Muto does not live in that world.
Yeah. There's no one even named Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's true. But it just means King of Games. But yeah, like the lore in
the lore even like it's in the card art itself is where it is most consistent. In the anime, they visit the dual monster spirit world, and like the lore between the monsters is not always consistent because they're just there as like whatever characters that they need them to be. Whereas in the card art, there's so much. It's gotten to the point where it's kind of folding in on itself. Like we got a new card reveal, or it's called Sebek Sorcerer, which is like a throwback to a fucking like first or second wave spell card of.
That's not that uncommon right now,
Blessing.
Because all of those Ishizu cards are cards we've already gotten before, but now they actually
those
do
are
things.
retrains.
Yes.
This is a completely separate. Sebek is the crocodile, right? So Sebek's blessing is the crocodile's blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Sebek's sorcerer is an acolyte of the cult of Sebek that is within the lore of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card art. Which is like, because remember, ancient Egypt is a huge part of the lore.
Well, it's honestly one of my favorite parts of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the ancient Egyptian stuff.
It's some of it is like some of the most interesting things, and then all of a sudden we have Dante's Inferno, just like all of Dante's Inferno.
They do that. They do that a bunch, and sometimes those are really fun. But I can't say as like any of my favorite archetypes are represented. Like almost all the archetypes I like are a little bit more original. Maybe they're referential, but they're not like.
I feel like everything's almost referential to an extent in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's like kind of the point.
Yeah, they kind of don't. There's nothing completely original. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, it's like even within the framework of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of the times it's just like reiterations on itself. It's like referencing itself.
Yes.
Which,
But people have been pointing out though that a lot of older things will probably get the Ishizu treatment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're already seeing it with like this, the GX cards, and then we're gonna start seeing it with some of the 5Ds cards. I mean, we see it with the TG.
I think a lot of classic normal monsters will eventually get
effects.
Yeah.
If anything, just make stronger normal monsters to balance out like the power like creep.
But no one uses normal monsters at all anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, there isn't a strategy that benefited from normal monsters.
It would be cool if they invented one.
Yeah. But, wishful thinking, right?
It would be cool. Dude, if Jerry Beansman was...
Yeah,
exactly.
All they need to do is start printing out normal monsters.
His true potential
with
is untested.
Really good levels and really high stats. So that way you have just physical walls that you can just, like, put out there if you really need to.
That doesn't sound like them.
But no, that's not. The whole point of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is to
Solitaire
really is to combo to an extent.
It's definitely what attracts. That's what I think is so interesting too, because like Yu-Gi-Oh fans, Magic fans, Pokemon fans have like kind of like their own Well, and Magic addressed this a little bit. So there's this thing from like Magic where they talk about like Tommy, Billy, like Spike.
Mhm.
Do you know about these kind of fictional characters?
Nope.
So they're fictional ideas that when they were designing the game, they were ideas of how people would want to play.
Okay.
And so like one person is, I think this is like the Spike character. He'll play whatever the top meta thing is. He's going to work the margins. He's going to try and win at any cost.
Okay.
And then there's people who like want to play pretty flashy, splashy kind of like effects, where if they resolve, it's kind of like about like how each individual person might come away satisfied from the product, right?
Okay.
And so one person might want to win really, really big, but they only need to win 1 to 2 out of 3 games in order to feel like they really had a great time because they won so big the times that they won. And then there's people who want to go like stompy. There's like people who just want to like put up big stuff and like run forward.
Yeah.
So it's basically like it's basically 5 different archetypal kind of imaginary concepts of what a person is who's like what kind of satisfaction they might receive from playing the game of Magic. But I think that even though Magic kind of addressed it in itself, I actually think that there's like a kind of general cultural vibe around each of the games, and each of them like kind of has like Yu-Gi-Oh players are combo players for sure, and they hate. It's funny because the game loves floodgates, but the combo players hate them.
No, not even just that.
They despise it. Floodgates, by the way, I don't know anybody who'd be following along this conversation without already knowing this stuff, but floodgates are basically like a 1 card that like turns off like a primary effect of the game.
It's in the name. It's a floodgate.
Yeah, not everyone would know that. Like Magic and Pokemon fans are not going to know what a floodgate is.
Have you heard what a floodgate is?
They literally have it.
No, I mean like the literal.
I know, and they literally have it.
Literal floodgate.
I'm telling you, what do you think these are
for a dam?
A bunch of Dutch boys who run around putting their fingers in the dam? No, none of these people know what a flood is or what a floodgate is.
Like, it's in the name. That's all I'm saying. But also, even to like the more control app, Yu-Gi-Oh to its core is a combo-based card game.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been that way, kind of. Even when it was slow Unga Bunga Yu-Gi-Oh, the best decks in the format were the ones that were able to
did the most stuff.
Did the most stuff, comboed into each other. Even with like your example of Labyrinth, right? It's a modern control trap deck. It's essentially the modern purple deck right now. It still has combo elements to it. You're still doing 3-piece combo.
You're still setting things up, yeah.
Right. Is it as combo oriented as the other combo decks in the format? No, because like what we in Yu-Gi-Oh would consider a combo deck is something that has like 40 fucking steps to it before you even get close to an end board, versus the 3-piece combo from a control deck. So there's like a larger gap, I guess.
Combo tutorials are definitely like the pornography of a Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
Oh my god. Because, dude, that's literally the most optimal. You're seeing the most optimal combo of your deck being played. What is not more satisfying than that?
It's not satisfying to me. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't do much for me as it does for other.
Dude, you play a freaking 3-piece combo deck. Your combo is literally you can write it on the back of your hand, and that like that's it.
Yeah, but I like floodgates. So because I'm like a bad person, I think.
I mean, okay, but even then, you're still playing like a 3-piece combo.
Of course.
It's just the difference is whether, or not you want to learn a shorter combo or a longer combo.
But some people really, really, really like, just playing like a million different cards that aren't related to one another and have some weird ancillary effect that makes it interact with one another, and having to look up how you actually make it resolve itself.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between, so what you're presenting, I think you might be conflating like 2 player bases. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there is that, but they're good. And that's like where you get stuff like kitchen sink or just good card decks, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they know how to play the game, like all the adventure splash decks, essentially. Because those are just good players to begin with. Whereas
it's really interesting though, because I don't think that even like not all like I've learned just learning more about Yu-Gi-Oh that a lot of the people who come up with the ideas are not the people who pilot them. Like one person will come up with a deck and like teach another high level player how to play it, and then one
that's usually how it kind of goes, because I feel like in the most competitive Yu-Gi-Oh teams, you have someone that does like the deck building and the research, and then you have someone that actually does the playing.
Right.
Because these are almost like kind of 2 separate.
They're different skill sets.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because playing at the table is very different from fucking.
And it's an important set of skills into itself. Just being able to manage because it's a weird thing in a way. Like no other game to me feels as much like an improv session as Yu-Gi-Oh does, where you basically talk through the entire game with your opponent until you come to a conclusion as a
It feels a lot like poker
resolution.
sometimes. Like it feels a lot like you're playing a one-on-one semi-high stakes poker game, and you're trying to just bluff your opponent into walking into whatever scenario you would deem optimal.
Right, but there is like this element where it's more conversational. Like especially like compared to Magic, where it's like this phase kind of thing. There's like a certain conversational element to the way that
I just think Yu-Gi-Oh just would much rather have the interaction between two players going on than just all the interactions be sheerly through the cards itself.
Yeah, definitely.
If I don't know. I think like the more simple the game is, the less likely you're going to talk to your opponent across from the table. The more complicated the game is, and the more complicated
you have to like definitely to
state.
figure out how things resolve. You have to like talk your way through it.
Yeah,
in Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's like, what are your intentions in activating these cards in such and such order? It's like, okay, which ones are you activating first?
Yeah.
What is the chain?
What's the chain? Right.
Yeah.
But like to be fair, like the stack works the same way in Magic, and like Magic, like especially like we had this conversation the other day at the store where we were all kind of admitting at a table that we cannot imagine an entire game of high level.
Wait, no, doesn't the stack start resolve first then last?
You build it up and it goes back down.
Okay, never mind then.
But like you add something to the stack, add something to the stack, and then you resolve back down.
Yeah.
But what we were saying is that in Commander, in EDH, it's impossible to imagine a high level of it without there being a single misplay, without there being a single missed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible to imagine.
That's why you have judges.
No. But we're saying though is that even it's not just about judging. It's like people are gonna miss triggers. There's so many, especially like in Commander at high levels. It's like such an infinite number.
Again, that's why I say like at high level play. That's why you still have judges.
Yeah,
there's someone else to keep track of the game for you.
Yeah.
That's like even at the higher level Yu-Gi-Oh tables.
Nobody's keeping track
at regionals and YCS. You have judges with computers there to track the game, because either they're gonna end up on the tournament report or whatever, or it's for records keeping purposes. Like this is the sample game that they're gonna take. But yeah, like the point of like judging, especially at like the highest level of play, is to just have another eye to track the game.
Yeah, of course.
That's really just it.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I mean, they just have such drastically different like cultures around them and what people are trying to achieve. Like, I really do think
they all smell.
Our games definitely
all of them.
smell.
All of them stink.
I would say that Pokemon stinks the least by far.
I don't know what the fuck anyone is over here saying. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh players smell the worst. Magic players smell the worst. Oh, blah blah blah.
Pokemon smells.
All of you smell the same. Y'all stink the same. I don't know who the fuck like pilled you on believing that one of you smells worse than the other. Y'all stink the same.
You know why people playing Pokemon smell less bad than Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh? Because women play it.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I think
if you raise the percentage of people playing the game that are female, or at least identify as female, the stink in the room goes down, like percentage wise.
Yeah.
A room full of dudes just fucking stinks. In a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament or a Magic tournament is a fucking room full of dudes.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these guys. I do know what the fuck is wrong with these guys. Both of these guys just live for the game.
Yeah, they have like nothing else they care about.
And like they're like going eight on a room with 2 beds or whatever. So it's not like any of them are really gonna like take the time to freshen up every day, the event or whatever. I don't know. Fucking just.
I really like the Yugi boomers though. Like other old Yugi fans, I really really like them. Like playing Edison and playing Goat has been like one of the most satisfying things to me. Like in all of card games, it's been so nice and cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I like these 40-year-old Yu-Gi-Oh fans are fucking cool. I like them.
You like Yu-Gi-Oh, you like Yu-Gi-Oh. But in my opinion, if you aren't playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh, are you even really playing Yu-Gi-Oh? What opinion do you have What opinion have you? How have you founded this opinion? If you aren't actually playing the modern.
I mean, I play
format
advanced
game?
format. It's just not. It's not as rewarding for me in opinion. And like I feel the same way about Third Strike. Like Street Fighter Third Strike is more fun than Street Fighter 6.
Well, yeah, because Street Fighter 6 is, you have modern controls and overcompensation for new player bases and stuff like that. But modern Yu-Gi-Oh is not like Street Fighter 6. Anything modern Yu-Gi-Oh is Third Strike.
Is it?
Yes, because it rewards players that have existed in the game for a long time for staying with the game. And
definitely, I will say that there's this crazy thing because there's no rotation, because they keep adding things. Definitely, both Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh reward people for like having a really deep card, like knowledge, like this like massive library of card text just like stored in their fucking brain.
Yu-Gi-Oh like the most is the FGC of card, or there's the fighting game of card games. Because the whole thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is 1, comboing, 2, returning your opponent to neutral. 3, interacting with your opponent on their turn, and your opponent interacting with you on your turn, meaning that the only thing that is really distinct in turns is who gets to attack and who has player priority when activating cards. Which, when you just think about it, that's just frame advantage. And the general consensus is that the longer you have been with the game, the more rewarded you are as a player, just either by experience or game knowledge. The FGC is the only real competitive atmosphere, especially in terms of gaming, that rewards older players for sticking with a specific franchise.
Definitely, especially in video games, I will 100% agree with you that in video games, like, obviously there's new Street Fighter players every year who are really, really good, but you don't see the old players disappear in the same way they do around like MOBAs
or FPSs, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Like at any given time, like the person who's like best at League has like been playing for like, you know what I mean, like not that long,
4 years,
actually. Yeah,
like tops.
Yeah.
Like, even then, a MOBA career is, I think, like 6 years on average.
Well, it's actually kind of crazy to me, too, because it kind of freaks me out. Like, I'll hear, like, stories about, like, people who are, like speedrunners, you know? And they'll, like, wreck their hands in, like, under just a couple of years, and then they can't
Yeah, they have,
like,
like, a severe carpal tunnel.
Yeah. That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Uh-huh.
I'm afraid of that, right?
That's why some people wear gloves while they play and do speed running.
I know, but like,
or like they hold the controller in specific
weird ways,
to reduce the amount of impact that puts on their fingers.
That gives me anxiety.
The FGC is not like that. If anything,
I mean,
the FGC.
You know what's crazy though?
The
like,
older you are in the FGC, and like
Justin's hands haven't gone out yet.
If you're still like in it,
let's go,
like,
Justin.
The more goated you are, essentially.
It's really funny though too, because like young people I think are really intimidated from like the old heads, so they just won't learn the old games.
Oh my god, stop being such fucking pussies. Just play the fucking game.
They'll just pick up the new one because they'll just assume that they get the same
modern
level.
Controls so much, and I hate everyone that's hopping on modern controls, especially like from Street Fighter 6.
I will say that it's really funny to see how embarrassed people get when they admit that they're using modern controls.
Yeah, you should be fucking embarrassed.
They'll be like all sheepish.
Yeah,
like,
you should be fucking embarrassed.
Yeah, my buddy Chris.
That's no skill.
My buddy Chris was like doing a bunch of stuff, and I was watching. So Eddie brings like his Steam Deck and a little monitor to next gen, so they can like run like Street Fighter 6 while like on Thursday nights, like when we're playing Pokemon. And not that I ever play Pokemon. Like, I'm like the worst Pokemon player in the world because I haven't played a tournament since like last winter. But I do go to say what's up to the dudes. So they're playing Street Fighter 6 and Chris is like doing all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, Chris, like nice moves. And then he was playing on modern controls. He's like, yeah, I'm playing on modern controls. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you should be ashamed.
All right, dude.
Shame.
All right,
shame.
Man. And like, I love Crispy. Crispy's the man, but I still think that like how embarrassed he was. I didn't say anything. You know what I mean? Like,
but they know.
But he knew.
He knew.
He knew.
He fucking knew. He fucking knew.
He knew. He knew. He's
like,
the
thing.
He's like, I'm a scrub.
I'm not even like a Street Fighter guy.
That's true. Actually, you are not.
I'm Korean. I play Tekken.
Oh, that's true. Where's that backdash, dude?
I could do it.
Can you?
Yeah, I can Korean backdash. Of course I can Korean backdash.
He's Korean. Of course you can Korean backdash.
Like all my Korean friends, Like amongst my play group, I'm the fucking worst.
Yeah, I believe that about you.
Yeah, like I'm the fucking worst. I only like figured out.
Who do you play, by the way?
In Tekken, martial law.
Okay,
I'm a
all
law
right.
main. I'm a law
Hell
main
yeah.
since the original Tekken.
I'm a Hwarang main since Tekken 3 or Tekken Tag, baby. I used to play Hwarang and Lee. Play both the Korean guys.
Lee?
Lee is Korean. Yeah, he's the adopted son of the Mishima Zaibatsu.
Why did I think you were talking about fucking
Lee is Heihachi's adopted son.
the silver haired guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were talking about what's that one guy that works with is it June? Because she's a cop.
Okay.
The guy who's essentially just Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah. Well, there's what's his name? His name is martial law, and what's his name? His name is he's got like the drunken master kind of style.
He has drunken,
and he always like wears like these big like flamboyant kind of robes.
Yep.
That's that guy's
he also
name.
has Hawaiian shirts as his alternates.
Yeah. No, I never used that guy, but I just remember this is another memory from the Talbot house. Was Ian used to always call martial law like basically coleslaw. He would call him like coleslaw. He would call him Questlaww, and we were like, "Are you saying are you saying coleslaw? do you think his name is coleslaw?"
No, but I'm a law main.
But like, we used to play a lot of Tekken Tag at that house. That was fun as shit. I remember.
Actually, I'm a Bruce Lee main across like fighting games.
Oh yeah, so okay.
I played. It's Fei Long in Street Fighter. Yeah, I was a Fei Long main in SF4.
He's got Rekkas. I don't actually know if he has Rekkas in 4 because I never played him in 4.
I don't think he does.
But he has Rekkas in the early games, like in
2.
Street Fighter 2. He has Rekkas.
And Turbo.
Yeah.
I think he was best in Turbo.
He's really good in Alpha 3 too, but like nobody plays that game, so nobody knows that.
Because you have Third Strike.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I think that it's just that like the Alpha games are just really polarizing because of Vism.
Oh, okay.
So they have like the auto combo kind of system, and like the auto combo stuff is so much better than the other strategies of the game that people who aren't into auto combo games or what do I call them? Custom combo games. Sorry, custom combos. Yeah. People who don't like custom combo games just don't play those games.
Yeah, which
is a lot of people because a lot of people don't want to play infinite custom combo stuff.
Yeah, I mean, which I get it. Was it Tekken Cross Street Fighter? Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Does that have a lot of that too?
Yeah, also like a gem system, stuff like that. It's about.
I really like that game because it has ugly Mega Man.
No, Keiji Inafune can't draw. Why the fuck are we making this guy think like he drew something iconic? Like, what the fuck? I hated that.
Ugly Mega Man's.
You know that was for the anniversary, right? That was Capcom's big Mega Man anniversary that year.
They don't do anything. They never do anything. Capcom and Konami are like just disappointing their fans is their main business.
Konami crawled back to Castlevania.
When? By licensing a television show?
Dude, the television show has been licensed for like the past 5 years.
I know, but what I mean is like, what are they bringing back?
They're just remastering all the Castlevania games, re-releasing them onto newer hardware, licensing the show, essentially just bringing Castlevania back into the modern like conversational zeitgeist or whatever.
Yeah, but they're not making any new games.
They don't need to make new games.
Oof.
Like that's the whole thing. They don't need to make new games.
Of course, they don't need to make new games, but I don't want to rebuy the same games on every system for the rest of my life.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we're left with.
It's fucking whack, dude. I'm telling you, it sucks ass. I'm saying it's not even cool.
Go buy the pachinko machine, bro. Go buy your Castlevania themed pachinko machine.
What about the Snake Eater? The Snake Eater pachinko machine. They remastered all of the cutscenes in Snake Eater into like modern
graphics,
like cutscene graphics,
that on
and they put it on a pachinko machine. It's pretty cool if you think about it, but not if you think about it any longer than like 5 seconds.
Don't fucking go to pachinko parlors. That's just advice from Ryan.
Some people really like pachinko. They shouldn't.
Don't go
it's
to
a bad
pachinko
idea.
parlors. Most pachinko parlors are run by organized crime.
Mm-hmm. This might be some Korean on Korean violence right here.
Like, don't go to pachinko parlors in fucking Hong Kong. Don't go to pachinko parlors in Korea. Don't go to pachinko parlors in Japan. Most pachinko parlors are run via organized crime or some sort of, um, less than reputable business operations.
Do you think, here's a really good question though. Do you think they should just legalize actual gambling in those spaces and then just stripe pachinko once and for all?
Yeah, I do, because the entire
like state-run, state like authorized casino.
Yeah,
businesses.
those are always the best, because when when there are state-operated regulations, you have to have guaranteed odds for the player,
right?
And you have to have a guaranteed minimal odds, and these have to be publicly available records. That's also why, like in like the States, reservation casinos are where most people lose their money, because reservation casinos don't have to adhere to
the odds.
To what is it called?
They're not obligated to like meet like the
game and
the commission, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the gambling commission or whatever.
Yeah. They also don't have to pay the fees or whatever, or stuff like that. So it's like give and take. And the reservations want their independence, which by all means. But when it comes to like pachinko parlors, they have a system set up where there's like it's like a store.
A fence.
Yeah, it's a fence.
They fence the balls.
Winning. Yeah, you're winning balls. That's it. You're winning shiny metal balls.
You win a shitload of these little balls, and then you get to trade them.
You take it to the counter, and they pour it in a little machine, and the machine counts up the balls for you. Like
you get a ticket,
and then you take the ticket, and the ticket says how many balls you won. Essentially, it's like, oh, you got 10,000 points. Take it to the. It is essentially a pawn shop. Like that's what it looks like. It just looks like a pawn shop.
Right.
But you take your little ticket, you walk over, and you go, okay, I'll get, or you go to the prize counter at the pachinko parlor first, and then you take your ticket to exchange for a prize. And you take your prize, whether it's a stuffed animal or fucking new shoes or a fucking melon. Some of these places just operate off of fruit, like a fruit economy. Like it's a fucking high-end melon or some shit like that.
I will say high-end fruit is so funny because it's such a, I don't know, is it a big deal? Is high-end fruit a big deal in Korea too?
Yeah.
It's a really big deal in Japan.
It's
like omiyage is like.
Well, I think I remember reading something about this in like one of the sociology classes that I took, especially in like East Asian cultures or just like Asian cultures in general, because of the ever-present existence and historical existence of famine and general political unrest and economic strife.
I thought it was just about gift giving.
No, it is a bit. It is because it's a gift economy, but also fruit itself became highly valued because it was something that only wealthy people could really enjoy on a regular basis.
Definitely get that.
On top of that,
that sounds more like a Korea thing. But keep going.
There is a completely separate, like high-end fruit market where you have farmers that specifically grow like a small patch of strawberries or like melons or like cantaloupe or
they show it, at least in Japan, they show it on television all the time. They show programs where they show how meticulously.
Same thing in Korea.
Yeah,
we have the same. So every programming block that exists in Japan also exists in Korea.
I believe that immediately. But what these programs do is they're like this person will like meticulously care for this single strawberry, ensuring that it becomes the world's greatest strawberry.
This one strawberry, he has been tending to it for the past 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is almost time to harvest or something like that.
Exactly. And then that single strawberry will be huge, and it'll be the perfect, most delectable, and it comes from this specific region of Japan, which is the only place you can get this kind of strawberry because it's the regional delicacy of this part of Japan.
They tell you,
and then it'll be like an $80 strawberry.
That's still cheap because like
what's crazy about it is that you would never buy that for yourself.
Yeah, you're always
buying
you would
definitely buy it for someone else.
Yeah,
which is so it's like this. It's a gift economy.
Here's the thing: an $80 strawberry is still cheap in the world of high-end fruit.
Oh, definitely. I was trying to pick a big number. I probably didn't pick a big number.
My dad at one point was gifted a $2,000 melon, I think, or something like that. And we were in Korea, and we were with family, and then we just popped it open, and just everyone ate it.
Yeah,
it just tasted like a fucking melon.
Yeah.
But it definitely
looked. Each one of these I've had
like the most ideal.
Yes,
it was like a perfect sphere.
It's a perfect looking melon. I will say that every one of these I've had, where it's an expensive strawberry, expensive like white peach or whatever, it does look better than an average one you would pick off like the shelf like at the grocery store.
But does it taste any different?
It's like above
Slightly.
average, but only slightly.
Yeah, you're like getting marginal.
Yeah, it's like the returns.
But visually speaking, it's the craziest shit.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy. Definitely, I would say like the return on investment, like there's diminishing returns when you get to like a certain marginal level of
right.
improving.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like taking it back to pachinko, so some of these pachinko parlors run off of high-end fruit economy. Some of them run off of a stuffed animal economy. Some of them shoes. Some of them clothing.
Does that mean you have to pick the one that has the thing that you want?
No, because you just take it to the fence next door and you just trade it for cash, unless you specifically want the high-end fruit. And most of the time, it's not even really high-end fruit. It's just labeled as luxury item. Here. Like again, most
here's the thing. I've walked past
again.
like
Most of these
pachinko
pachinko parlors are operated using less than reputable business means, or are backed by organized crime. That's just how it is, and you don't get a low violent crime rate like you do in South Korea or Japan, but still maintain crime, because like it just shifts from violent crime or openly violent crime to organized crime and financial criminal activities. Like if you look at the statistics, it's like as violent crime goes down, the amount of financial related crime and fraudulent crimes in Korea and Japan just increase, because that's where the opportunity is. Just opportunities in the market have shifted, and gambling will always be something that is super profitable for criminal organizations, because they're just creating an addiction, and they're just abusing the fact that people have a gambling addiction. And when gambling as a culture is so heavily integrated and so normalized, a lot of the times, like
what's funny is that it's because overt gambling is not available at all, at least in Japan. In Japan, like it's because you can't, like if you find yourself in Japan at a place where they're playing actual card games for actual money, like you're illegal. In a crazy place.
That's illegal. That's the same thing in Korea. If you're
in a really, really crazy place.
If you're playing at a card table and there's chips on the table and you exchange chips for money, that's illegal. That's like you're committing a crime.
You're in a very crazy place. It does happen. But it is.
That's why also like ship casinos are still a thing out there. It's not so much in California anymore. It used to be a big thing in California when there's a major push for gambling prohibition and stuff like that. And this is before the establishment of reservation casinos. And
well, it's really funny because in California they do have, like, LA actually has a lot of casinos, but they don't have everything. Yeah,
they
don't. It's
very limited. It's highly regulated. Most of the time, if it's not on a reservation, you're not getting slots or whatever, or roulette or anything like that. Right. It's just a card room.
It's a card room, basically. A card room. Yeah.
Or just like they're just glorified multi-story card rooms.
Yeah, definitely. What's really funny and interesting about that is I'm sure that like Vegas wouldn't want it any other way.
Vegas and Atlantic City are the only two that kind of get a pass.
Well, I think Detroit has everything, to my knowledge.
Does it?
There's nothing that Detroit doesn't have, to my knowledge. They have. I mean, I think they have slot machines. Here's the thing.
When I speak of Vegas and Atlantic City, these are like cities dedicated to casino culture.
Definitely. Yeah.
Whereas, like,
but what I think though also is that I don't think that the reservations want
casinos at all either. Yeah. No, the reservations.
The reservations want that to be an exclusive thing for them.
It's so funny you mentioned this, because I actually wrote like a little paper on this. There's a kind of divide, because part of the reservations see casinos as an opportunity in order to bring resources and money into the reservations.
Right.
However, the other half of the reservation, like the argument presented by natives on the reservations, is that they just help. They don't really help in the long term. If anything, they propagate alcoholism and gambling addiction.
Okay. On the reservation.
On the reservation. So the people that are most directly affected are not the people that are coming in to play at the casino.
But it's actually the people of the reservation
that live around the casino.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Their argument is that it's overall a net negative to the reservation.
Yeah. I could definitely see that being true.
Yeah.
And like the casinos in LA aren't like in the nicest neighborhoods either.
No, casinos are intentionally, like, especially card rooms are intentionally put into impoverished areas, because those are the areas that are most likely to experience gambling addiction.
Yeah, totally.
Because gambling and casino culture itself is something that appeals to the desperate.
Definitely.
Like, that's the whole kind of point.
Definitely.
Which I think Me personally, I have a very strong personal stance against casinos and gambling. Like, I don't know if I'm like, you know, I think I fall.
But
into
you
that
don't think they
boat.
should be illegal?
Oh no, I think they should be.
They should be illegal?
Yeah.
Well, then
So in my opinion, right, casinos and gambling.
We were just a second ago we were talking about how pachinko could easily be removed.
Right. No,
brought in actual casinos.
if you brought in actual regulation and actual stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's the logical next step of doing it. But in my personal opinion, for like the betterment of whatever social atmosphere that you exist in or social ecosystem, you shouldn't have casinos.
I feel that way about loot boxes.
No, absolutely. I feel the same way about loot boxes. Loot boxes shouldn't exist.
Yeah, loot boxes should not exist.
And
I can't believe they
loot boxes
ever
are even more disgusting.
I think they're literally worse.
They appeal
they're
to
for
children.
Yeah, they're children casinos.
Which is like this terrible.
It's like online like gambling for children.
Yeah, like I don't know if you're familiar with the whole CS:GO Lotto scandal.
No.
Where it's essentially, so you know what CS:GO is, right?
Well, yes, and I actually know someone who has like items from CS:GO that are worth like tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And it's the worst piece of information anyone's ever given me.
Yeah. So
what I did not ever need to know that.
So with CS:GO Lotto is you could put up those tens of thousands of dollars worth of skins up into essentially a roulette wheel, right?
Why would that be?
And you can put your stuff up against other people's stuff in that same roulette wheel, right? And you spin the wheel and let's see what you win type stuff. That's it. You get like you get credits for whatever skins you upload.
How did they let Counter-Strike become like a gambling platform?
Because that's what the whole class action lawsuit against Valve is about.
Okay, I haven't heard anything about it. You were telling me about this for the first time.
Like there's several lawsuits that were put up against Valve because they believe that loot boxes, loot crates, and CS:GO itself, and the whole backdoor gambling roulette shit that they got going on.
This is literally one of the downsides of having your government be run by octogenarians.
They just don't fucking get it.
Because they do not know any of this is happening.
They don't get it.
They don't know. They don't care. They have no idea.
They don't get it.
Nancy Pelosi has no fucking clue that this is going on.
They just don't get it. Like at all.
They have no idea that children are like gambling.
This is even a problem.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I think the only the state representative to really come out and say something against this
is the guy from Hawaii, right?
Yeah, Hawaii.
Yeah, that guy's cool. I like that guy. I do not remember your name, but we will post your picture and your name.
I don't think we will, because I also think he's the one that allowed after the Maui fire to.
Oh, whoops. Turns out the guy sucks.
I could be wrong, but I don't really. Politicians are politicians, right?
Yeah, it's true. But every once in a while, you get a pretty cool one.
Every once in a while.
LBJ was a cool guy
until
prove me wrong.
But going back to the original point of my stance on casinos.
Okay. Which I do want to understand.
I recognize that gambling is a human. It's
like an instinct or something. Yeah, it's like
just
taps into something in here. Yeah,
it's something that just appeals to humanity.
Yeah,
which I get.
The humans,
right?
Us humans.
Me personally, I believe casinos should be illegal.
Okay,
I don't think gambling should be really allowed.
Okay.
However, because I recognize the necessity to appeal to a portion of society, a portion of the population that wants to gamble, it should be highly regulated.
Okay, so you have two shoulds. One is like an idealistic version, and one is a pragmatic version.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
An ideal world would not have them. A pragmatic one would have them with lots of reasonable regulation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And even then, I would cut down on the houses win rate. Like it wouldn't be a 60%. It would be cut down to 55 or 53. I would really want it to be kind of fair. But then again, how does the house make money? Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Yeah. I don't really fucking care. I hate gambling. It's such a weird I don't know. I feel like I have a weird stance on it because all my other friends and everyone I talk to are just oh dude, it's just gambling. Blah 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 blah.
It's funny though, because I don't think of that many people. This isn't a conversation that comes up in my everyday life. I wouldn't be able to tell you what my friends' opinions are on whether or not gambling should be legal. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I do have a lot of friends who are involved in sports gambling.
That's another thing. Me in particular.
Dave Portnoy, by the way, he owns
sports gambling should not be legal.
He owns, so Dave Portnoy, the Barstool guy.
Yeah.
He owns part of one of the casinos in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not fucking surprised.
Because he's the one who, like, when sports gambling became legal and became a thing you could do at the casino, he came to Detroit to, like, integrate it into one of the casinos.
So I'm so glad you mentioned sports gambling because I'm fucking disgusted by the entire system as a whole. On top of that, electronic gambling should not be legal at all.
Yeah.
Period.
People should only do it analog.
Remote electronic gambling in particular, with like what they're trying to introduce with the current changes in California's gambling regulations and stuff like that, where it's like you don't have to live in the state that you're gambling in.
Ooh, okay.
That should be straight up fucking illegal.
Yeah, there's like definitely seems like just like an element of that where it's just like prone for wire fraud and all kinds of issues.
Yeah, not just that, but like
just zapping money along state lines.
Electronic gambling should be illegal purely for the fact that anyone with access to the program or system that they have set up for the gambling program can just get into the back door. That's what has happened with CS:GO Lotto time and time again.
Oh, okay, so now we're getting back to CS:GO Lotto. So people have been manipulating CS:GO Lotto.
Yes.
It's not just that they're
all the videos that you see promoting CS:GO Lotto.
I haven't seen a video. I didn't even know it was a thing until you just told me about it.
So this was like really, really big. Like I think like maybe 6 years ago, because a lot of these people got taken to court. None of them, I don't think any of them really got into any real trouble.
I'm being exposed as such a console gamer right now because I really don't know that much stuff about just Steam drama.
But it's not even just limited to CS:GO. CS:GO was just the most well known. There are other games that also appeal to this kind of gambling market. That's also why you had such a huge like wave of gambling streams on Twitch, because a lot of these streamers got big off of CS:GO Lotto streams or CS:GO Lotto videos and then just switched to doing straight up gambling streams. So with CS:GO Lotto, the big controversy that got revealed is a lot of these people that were doing promotional videos, they either owned the website themselves or were signed on as a co-owner of the business and therefore had access to the back doors to these programs. So they could change and manipulate the odds specifically for promotional videos. And they would change and manipulate the odds not just for their own promotional videos, but also for people that they got and they sponsored content for. So that way they could be like, when they made their video, they would have an authentic reaction, but really the odds were always manipulated in their favor. Like, so these people, some of these people that made promotional videos for websites like CS:GO Lotto
were winning fixed games.
Exactly.
And they'd be like, "Oh, you see that? I just won! Like the sickest person who ever lived."
Exactly. Just for the sake of promotion and advertising to make it appeal to their younger fan bases.
Whoa, that is so predatory.
No, absolutely. So then you have that.
I will say that just before we get too far ahead of ourselves, like I don't think I have the same strict ideas about gambling, but I definitely think that loot boxes and gambling within video games, there's no way
they should not be.
There's no way.
They should not be integrated with each other.
There's no way that should even be possible. Like, even a game, like, I play Duel Links. I don't think Duel Links should be allowed to operate the way that it does.
No, absolutely. It's fucking loot boxes.
Yeah.
And this is...
I don't think that the way that the game operates, it should be legal.
And I get it. And it's hypocritical of me to say that as someone that is so heavily involved into TCG and TCG culture. But I don't buy packs. I don't buy sealed product. I only go and buy singles. Because I don't...
Right, but that is interesting also too, because what you mean is that are you saying you would not engage in these games if it weren't for the secondhand market?
Absolutely.
Market? Yeah, that's interesting by itself, right? That's interesting.
I think so. And
like I'm kind of with you actually about that. Like I do open boxes on occasion, and I do recognize that there's an element that's totally gambling.
The times that like I've opened boxes has always been like special occasion type stuff, or like my friends and I are like we're talking about this new set and we just hype it amongst each other. And it's like, oh, everyone can get cards from it regardless of what we pull. So might as well just go in on a box and then get the singles of what we need afterwards. Because then, you do the math and it comes out a little bit cheaper sometimes than trying to get all the singles in one go. But that's very rare. If anything, I'm just going to go out.
It's extremely unrare.
I'm just going to go out and get the singles.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, if you want to play, singles are, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I'm not a collector, really. I'm purely there to just play the game for the most part.
Totally. But it's really interesting too, because there's like this element of the game that's really chance based. There's this element of each of these things. Like the whole conversation we're having feels like, even when we're talking about casinos, we're talking about like CS:GO Lotto, and we're talking about like Indian like reservations. Yeah. There's all of these things feel like things out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. Like all of them feel like these kind of weird, deadly, like Shadow Realm games.
Well, not just that, but like all of them in practice are incredibly predatory.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's like what Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 is about. Like play stupid games,
Win
win eternally stupid prizes.
prizes. Which, you know, I get. So from my perspective, is also I divert slightly in some cases where I believe there should be cash prizing for games like Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have cash prizing. That's like a basic ground rule. You win things. It's similar to pachinko essentially, where you win things that can then be sold on the secondhand market for money, because you can only get those prizes via events. But me personally, I think you should just do cash prizing. If you're gonna have like a major event, tournament, whatever, make it a show.
And just also like the extra added complication of like making people sell the prizes that you give them to turn it back into money. It doesn't make it like they didn't get money.
Also,
it just made it more complicated.
De-incentivizes the prize itself.
Yeah. It makes the prize itself less important and more a means towards it.
If you got the prize and then a big check that just said like how much money or whatever, then like I think that would be far more appealing than just the prize.
One thing I think is really cool about Pokemon is that, first of all, if you're a really young person, playing Pokemon, especially at the competitive level, is just like free tendies. Because like every time you show up at a tournament, you're gonna walk away with like, you might be the only junior at the tournament. It's pretty common that there will be less than 5 juniors at any major event. So at least under the regional level. So that means that you're gonna get getting the points for Worlds is like really, really easy, and then you just keep stacking like school they give away all these really amazing scholarships to these kids and stuff. Yeah. It's like actually, it's a lot of work for the parents. It's still a lot of work for the parents, but there's a huge top end for the kids. There's a huge.
I also think it comes back to like, you know, the inherent support the game receives from their parent company. Konami doesn't seem like it's too interested in supporting like a younger player base.
Konami's not interested in supporting anything. Konami's the most confusing company on the planet. They don't. They're a video game company that doesn't make video games.
They're a trading card company that doesn't want to host tournaments.
They're all these things that like run like gym memberships in Japan. They own gyms. They run gyms.
Yeah,
it's a weird company, man.
But fucking PTCI, right? PTCI,
TCPI, TPCI, the Pokemon Company International.
Yeah, they seem to actually care about fostering a long-term player base. It's almost like if you want to have a successful game to last a long time and to have new players come in and be excited to join that player base, then you should host events that look appealing for players to want to come to. You want to give people FOMO for not playing your game.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has FOMO from Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments.
From like missing YCSs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say I really like playing Edison and Goat at those tournaments. They're so fun.
Right. But
the actual main event, I don't care.
Yeah, right. Like, you're not there for the YCS.
No. Actually, the crazy thing about it is that like I played at the Pasadena YCS not that long ago, and I played Goat all weekend, and I would win tickets, and so there's people there. This is like a thing about Yu-Gi-Oh. There's people who hustle tickets. Yeah. So there's these giant, insane prizes at the wall, and the prizes like are so many tickets that you couldn't possibly win them all from playing. So what people do is they just run around buying the tickets. They win the crazy prize, and then they flip the prize.
And you're not.
And we're talking about a prize so insane.
You're not supposed to do that either.
But like how
else are you expecting?
But how else could you do it? Exactly. It's impossible. It's the only way you could do it.
Like I don't. Like the only
in the weekend itself.
Only legitimate strategy you really have is to pool tickets with a group of guys that you also showed up with,
or just buy them. And so there's guys standing by the ticket booth all weekend.
Konami doesn't recognize that as like a legitimate strategy.
No,
technically, like
but like that's the only real way. But there's 20 guys racing to get the sheet.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to what we have behind us. They'll print entire sheets of like a high rarity card and like a crazy foiling, and you can win the sheet, it's uncut sheet.
Yeah,
and so
straight from the factory line.
And these things can go for like $10,000 to $20,000.
I think that the most expensive I've seen it go for is like $32,000.
Yes, which is really, really, really crazy. And then but the number of tickets, like you could win every single event you play in the side events for 2 days, and you wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't be close.
You wouldn't even be close. You'd be like a third of the way, probably.
Yeah. You and like 5 other people would have to be doing that.
Yes,
together.
Yeah.
Playing but you couldn't play the same event because you need to maximize the amount of tickets you can get per event you play. And if you all play the same event and you all just get top 3, you're not going to be maximizing the amount of tickets you can get per event.
And you're also going to miss guess because you're not going to know which ones are going to fire faster and whatever. So here's the bigger problem. You and your group of people are going to get beat by the guy who's buying tickets.
Uh-huh.
So he's going to stand there and he's going to offer a $5 ticket, $15 ticket, whatever, $10 ticket. Eventually, he will end up getting that sheet for about $5,000, and then he can flip it for 4 or 5 times as much as that. Maybe not 5, but like literally 3 or 4 times
for at least $10K.
Yeah.
To
make his money back. And so he basically shows up with like $5,000 in his pocket and like buys the sheet, but he's got to be there all day long, just buying one ticket after another from every little person.
And after a while, sometimes people get desperate.
Yeah, they get really crazy desperate.
Like,
and they'll start paying a crazy amount to finish
$20
the sheet. Yes, exactly.
Like $30.
And so that's how
because there'll be like no prizes left, or it'll just be the large prize left, and everyone's pulling their tickets for that.
Exactly. And then if you spent all the money and don't get it, you're cooked.
You're fucked.
You're so fucked.
Like, you're actually fucked.
You're so
like,
fucked.
what are you gonna fucking do with those tickets? You can't use those tickets at another Konami event.
Nope. They're
It's for that event only.
Yeah. And they only have usually like 2 sheets or something for that event. So like once you got it, it's over. It's done.
It's like the next best thing you can do is hope for giant card, but even then, giant card doesn't go past triple digits most of the time.
Yeah.
And then what are you left with? Like shitty mats? Like literally.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy, crazy game. It's such a weird ordeal. The Pharaoh would have a fucking field day with this. But it's a wild thing, and like honestly, like just me dicking around playing GOAT all weekend, I ended up selling my tickets for probably like a little over like $200.
Jesus.
So I got paid $200 to play GOAT all weekend.
So that pays for your entry essentially.
Yeah.
It pays for almost every single time.
My lunch.
Your lunch
and every time I paid.
Every time you entered an event, it pretty much pays for that.
Yeah.
Which me
personally, and I got to play GOAT all weekend, which is what I came to do in the first place.
Me personally, I don't like how Konami makes it so you have to pay again for every single event you sign up for. I think it should be a basic flat fee for the entire weekend. Just raise the price. Just
to go.
Yeah, just the ticket to entry. Raise the ticket to entry a little bit, price point wise, right? And then just be able to sign up for whatever side events you want while you're still at the event.
Yeah.
Because then you paid for one weekend or one day or 2 days or whatever. You know.
But I feel like personally, this is my hot take, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Side events are the draft of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Like I think
definitely there's more fun going on at the side events than anything else.
Yeah.
If you take it from someone who plays in the main event. If you're playing in the main event, you're not having fucking fun. I'm sitting at the table praying my opponent doesn't show up just so I can get the buy
get a free dub.
So I can go
get lunch. Yeah.
Or something, like go use the bathroom because the fucking lines are insanely long.
Yeah.
Everyone that shows up is a fucking dude.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's only dudes.
Like,
it's an all dude event, that's for sure. No, it's really crazy.
But
anyway, we watched a movie.
Man, we were going for a long time.
That could be its own podcast right there.